What's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, an update on the Matt Jansen situation. So Matt put out a pretty lengthy post that's responding to everything that's been going on, and if you guys aren't caught up with what's been going on, there was the Quint Beastwood video kind of blasting Matt a couple days ago. Then the next day, after Quinton's video, we found out that Nick, Shaun, and Brett are all no longer working with Matt. Shaun and Brett have both commented on it. We still haven't heard from Nick. And I'm going to talk about Shaun's comment after we talk about Matt's. And I also think a lot of people were expecting maybe an official retirement from coaching post because of the way that Brett worded things on the Fuad podcast. He kind of insinuated that maybe Matt would be done coaching altogether, and that's the reason why he's not working with Nick, Brett, and Shaun anymore. With the implication being that it may have been mutual between all of them splitting and not Nick leaving Matt, Shaun leaving Matt, and Brett leaving Matt. But because Matt's not coaching, they're not working with him. However, Matt didn't directly confirm that in this post. So Matt says, "I want to take a moment to address the current situation. Over the past year, it has become clear to me that my passion for bodybuilding has shifted. However, my dedication and love for the guys that I had the opportunity to help remained unwavering, making this year a mental challenge for me. I recognized the need for change, but I didn't want my team to feel abandoned or think that I was above them, so I continued to honor my commitments. I've increasingly embraced my roles as a dad, a husband, and spending time with my wife and boys has become my top priority as they grow, and I truly want to be present for them. Additionally, I've discovered a passion for endurance sports, both for personal health and business opportunities, and I've invested in myself deeply in this area over the past year. I acknowledge that my focus may not have always been where it should have been with my team, and I sincerely apologize for any negative feelings this may have caused." And I think perhaps that part of the statement is maybe directed at Quinton, because I haven't, to be fair to Matt, I haven't seen Nick, Shaun, or Brett, any of them, say anything negative about Matt yet, just confirming that they're not working with him anymore. And Brett actually didn't say anything negative at all. He actually said very positive things about Matt, which were true. Because one of the big criticisms against Matt was that he's working with guys that are already genetic freaks, guys that it wouldn't be too difficult to work with because they're so gifted and they're such hard workers. But I think Brett is a good example of being the exception to that, because Brett was nowhere near where he was when he started working with Matt. So to be fair to Matt, he did take Brett from Classic to 212 to Open, and then being one of the top Open guys and winning Open shows. That is pretty impressive. And he says, "On a personal note, I feel the way I'm being treated is currently unfair to me and the career that I have had. In my last two competitions, Brett delivered an incredible performance, arguably at his best, and Shaun placed second in the world at 42. This isn't just about me. It's about acknowledging that Shaun is still one of the top bodybuilders in the world. The perception that we fell short is disappointing, especially when what he continues to achieve is so incredible." And I think this is probably a fair point too. Even though they missed the mark a little bit with Shaun, and Shaun wasn't able to regain his title, he was still second at the Olympia. So while in one respect it was a failure as far as trying to get that title back, on the other hand, it's kind of hard to say top two in the world is a failure. And then finally, Matt says, "Above all, I want to take responsibility for any shortcomings over the past year and just say that I'm sorry to anyone that I might have hurt along the way, as that was not my intention." And then, of course, in this post, he's showing picture. The first picture is a picture of him and Shaun. Second one is a picture of him and Brett. The third one is a picture of him and Nick Walker. And the fourth one is a picture of him and Justin Shire. So I think overall, this was a pretty decent acknowledgement. I mean, he took responsibility. He apologized. And like I said, in the Mike Van Wyck situation with him assaulting Jeff Nippard, I really don't believe in cancel culture. I believe in being held accountable, for sure. And I think that that's what's happening to Mike right now, and that's what's also happening to Matt on a little bit of a lesser scale than what's going on with Mike. But like I said in that video about the Mike and Jeff thing, I think that if Mike comes out and says, look, I'm sorry, I was in the wrong, I'm taking accountability, and I'm just going to take this on the chin, I think that would go a long way as far as a step to his redemption arc. Because I think probably the worst thing somebody could do in this situation is come out and say, you know, F you guys, I didn't do anything wrong, I'm not apologizing, and then maybe try to blame the people that are victims of this situation. And we still haven't heard anything from Mike. But overall, I thought Matt's post was pretty decent, actually. And I would still like to see Nick Walker say something. He didn't comment on this post, and he hasn't spoken publicly about the Matt situation other than confirming in an Instagram comment that he's no longer, a YouTube comment, that he's no longer working with Matt. But we did get a comment from Shaun Clarida. So Shaun commented on Matt's post, and he posted on his own story, basically echoing the same thing that he said in the comment section of Matt's post. But he says, "This will be the only statement that I make in regards to Matt Jansen. Is throughout our time together, we shared some amazing moments, including a ton of wins, the New York Pro, the Texas Pro, and 2 Olympias. He devoted his time and energy into helping me succeed, and that's something that I'll always cherish and appreciate." So again, to Matt's credit, 2 of the 3 big names that are no longer working with him, they've had really only positive things to say. Which is why I'm curious to see what Nick says, because I feel like maybe there was some degree of a falling out between him and Nick, because the Nick situation is a little bit unique. Him dropping out of the Olympia in that video that he did with Matt announcing that, which, like I said, Nick has now deleted from his page, I think that got a lot of blowback. Well, I know that got a lot of blowback directed at Nick. And if it really was a decision that Matt made for Nick or talked Nick into doing, and maybe now after the Olympia Nick potentially regrets, maybe there is some bad blood there, but we don't know because Nick hasn't come out and said anything yet. But I also looked at the likes, not just the comments on Matt's post, and Nick hasn't liked the post either. And at the time that I'm making this video, it's probably been about 4 hours since Matt posted this. And also, Matt doesn't acknowledge Nick really at all, at least by name, in his post. But he does, by name, acknowledge Shaun and Brett. So I kind of wonder if there is like some legitimate tension behind the scenes or legitimate beef between Matt and Nick. And I thought it was also kind of interesting, but maybe I'm reading too much into this, that Nick is the only picture that Matt shows in this collage here, where Nick's not facing the camera. It's just his back with a hood on. But Brett, Shaun, and Justin at the end there, you can all see their faces, everybody except for Nick. But yeah, I think this post was a pretty good first step. I feel like there's probably still a lot more to be said about the Nick situation, maybe a little bit more specifically about Quinton, maybe a little bit more detail about what the future holds for Matt, because, I mean, while this wasn't an official announcement saying he's done coaching, it does kind of sounds like he acknowledges he's going a different direction with his life here. So I would like to see a little bit more on why each coaching relationship ended between him and Brett, him and Shaun, and him and Nick. And there's really no acknowledgement about any of that in this post. But I did also want to show that Quinton came out and made a response to Matt's post. And he kind of accepted what Matt posted, and he kind of says, you know, we can say our piece and move on, and he wishes Matt the best. And Quinton kind of being the one that his initial video kind of launched all of these things with Matt. And Quinton posted this kind of saying, you know, he's at peace with the situation, he's moving on, and he just wanted to get everything off his chest and say his piece, but he doesn't wish any ill will towards Matt. So let's play Quinton's video here.
Okay, guys, so I saw that Matt came out with a statement, and I wanted to say that I wish him all the best with his future endeavors. I wish him, I think he's doing triathlons. He's trained to be a triathlete. I think that's incredible. So, hey, wish you all the best with the family, with the kids and the sports. And hey, shit happens. You know, we say our piece and we move on. You know, there's no hate here. So, anyways, guys, moving on from the situation. We're still going to crack jokes, though. We're still going to crack jokes because, listen, man, if you can't take humor out of situations, then what's the point? Why go through it? You know what I'm saying? But definitely all the best. And listen, there's been people that come out the woodworks because maybe they have a personal vendetta against somebody and they see that their downfall has come. That's not what I did. That's not why I did this. Like, I definitely was just putting my story out there. And, like, the reception was a reception. People reacted how they reacted. And the last thing that I want to do, even with the Mike situation, I said mean things. I said insults. And, like, I should not have called him out of his name. Regardless of what he did, I shouldn't have gone there, personally. So, listen, guys. Don't use situations to piggyback off of another person's misfortune. When it comes to the coaching thing, there's a lot of coaches that are doing some dangerous things. Okay, so again, let's just use what happened here and let's hold people accountable. And if you have a bad and dangerous experience, maybe with a coach, I don't know, are people using Reddit? Put it on Reddit, so people can find out. I don't know where I got cut off there, but also, guys, trust in yourself as well. You don't want, what I learned from this experience is, like, it's good to, what the fuck? But, whoa, that kind of threw me off. But it's good to seek help, seeking coaching, training, like, that's really good. But it's also okay to bet on yourself. It's okay to trust yourself. You know what I mean? Jordan Yates coached himself. He's had friends that overlook certain things. So, hey, why can't you do that? Why can't I? I mean, I'm going to do it. At this point in time, like, I'm not interested in working with any coach, so that is what I'm doing. And I feel like I'm doing just fine.
Now, next up in the news, in other news, Ron Harris is reporting that Nathan Asha has his visa to come to the United States and compete at the Arnold Classic, Ohio, which I think will be really cool if that actually happens. Like I said going into the Olympia, I really think one of the tragedies of the Olympia season this year was the guys that deserved to be on that stage and weren't able to be there because of their visa issues, including Beirut, including Nathan. And I hope we do get to see him on that Arnold Classic stage because I think he is one of the best bodybuilders in the world. He's proven that with the number of shows that he's won, the amount of times that he's qualified for the Olympia, whether or not he was able to get there and compete. I want to see him there. But I think a couple years ago, he said he would be at the Arnold, Ohio for sure. And then he wasn't there. And it's been like the past maybe 3 years that he said he's going to be at the Olympia and then wasn't there. So I think it'd be really cool to see Nathan in that lineup, and I think he belongs on a stage of that size, but I'm not going to get my hopes up too high that we're actually going to see him in Ohio, but I would love to. And I'm assuming we'll be finding out very, very shortly what the official Arnold Classic invitation list is for the competitors, because typically it's pretty soon after the Olympia is over that we get that list. So at the very least, we'll get to see who they invited. But in addition to the news about Nathan competing in the Arnold Classic Ohio, it's also been confirmed that Martin Fitzwater is going to be competing again before the end of the year at the EVLS Prague Pro. Now that should be pretty exciting. Now, Prague is one of the 3 men's open bodybuilding shows that we still have left this year in 2024. You've got Prague, Romania, and the Big Man Weekend. And I believe the last that we heard from Neckzilla was that he was going to do Prague, right? And maybe he'll do Romania too. And I even heard a rumor yesterday that potentially Rafael Brandao will do Romania. So I think it's definitely not the end of the excitement with the Olympia being over. I think you're still going to see several top guys, several bigger names, jump in these 3 remaining shows before the end of the year and try to get that early qualification for next year's Mr. Olympia. But Martin, I'm very excited to see him compete again. I was extremely, extremely impressed with Martin at the Olympia. I had a very strong feeling going into the Olympia that he was going to do well and that he was going to be top 6. But top 4 is really, really solid for him. And I think he deserved it. I think Martin looked fantastic at the Olympia, and he's got a very bright future for such a young guy in the sport. And I think qualifying early is definitely the move for him. And then having the whole year to focus just on the Olympia. And I don't remember if I talked about this already or not, but it was pretty impressive that Martin beat Andrew Jacked at the Olympia. Because remember, earlier in Martin's career, they had went head-to-head at the Texas Pro, and Martin was runner-up to Andrew. So that's how much better Martin is now and how much he's improved. That now he's beating Andrew Jacked, a guy that he had never beaten before. And not to mention everybody else that placed outside of the top 4 at the Olympia, but I think specifically seeing Martin in 4th and Andrew in 5th right next to each other, when that's how Martin started his career, was next to Andrew Jacked, but placing behind him, I thought was kind of a nice poetic moment there. I think that's a lot to digest for one video, so I think we're going to end the video there, but I am very curious to hear your guys' thoughts on Matt Jansen's acknowledgement post of everything that's been going on. And as I reread it just now, I'm still kind of thinking there's still a lot of stuff that I think is remaining unaddressed and unspoken here, so I'd like to see maybe a little bit more, especially on the Nick Walker situation. But overall, I thought it was a decent acknowledgement and probably a really good step forward, and it seemed to be good enough for Quint Beastwood. But let me know what you guys thought about all this in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys, appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out. Alright guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also check out my Instagram at NICKS&P, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel, and consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.